Leanne Luffrey and her daughter, Tiffany Ann, left Newcastle local court separately. But together, they're accused of plotting to kill. 46-year-old Leanne is charged with attempting to solicit one man to murder the new partner of her ex-husband between March and October last year. She's also accused of soliciting another man to commit murder in September. 21-year-old Tiffany Ann is alleged to have attempted to have the same man carry out the killing that same month. The pair sat separately in Newcastle local court today as their cases were dealt with. Magistrate Robert Stone was told evidence is still being examined, including phone and bank records. As part of their bail conditions, the co-accused could not approach or communicate with each other. But today, Leanne Luffrey was successful in her application to have that altered for one day later this month, so the pair can attend a funeral. She'll be allowed to approach her daughter, but will still be prohibited from communicating with her. The matter will be heard again next month. Tyson Cottrell, NBN News.
A house crawling with cockroaches. Barbara Randall has woken up to a nightmare every morning for a year. She and her 2 children moved into this Department of Housing unit in late 2015. From the first morning, she realised there was a problem.
They're everywhere. They're under the table, they're behind clocks, they're behind pictures, they're in my pantry, they're in my fridge, they're in my bed, to the point you can't sleep much.
The family has tried roach bombing them but says there's simply too many. If the insects aren't in it or on it, they're eating it, the lounge included.
Oh, the lounge, it's brand new. I had to get a new one because of the old one was cockroach infested and the kids couldn't even sit on it.
The roaches have also ruined several appliances. Miss Randall has been forced to do the grocery shopping daily, and just making her children's school lunches is a struggle.
It's so infested that they don't even want to be here.
Do you?
Not really. Do I have anywhere else to go? No.
She says she's alerted Housing New South Wales repeatedly, but no action has been taken. Now, local MP Sonia Hornery is on the case, urging the minister to step in and give the family peace of mind and a good night's sleep.
We're going to sleep with earplugs.
Georgia Ma, NBN News.
Detectives from Port Stephens as well as the Central Hunter Command have teamed up with officers from the Robbery and Serious Crime Squad to form Strike Force Shirley. It's investigating a series of armed robberies across the Hunter, including one at the Williamtown McDonald's on January 25. Today, officers released CCTV footage showing 3 men entering the fast food outlet just before 11 that night, believed to be armed with a sawn-off shotgun, baseball bat and a machete. The trio raided cash registers and a safe and was seen leaving on Nelson Bay Road. Yesterday, police also searched a home on Shearman Avenue at Raymond Terrace, seizing several items and a Holden Commodore. Detectives are urging anyone with information relevant to the investigation to come forward.
These old trains are a labour of love for Patterson's Rail Motor Society. Once a regular sight on Hunter lines, now they're rarely in the spotlight. And excitement is building as volunteers prepare them for their big days out.
It's rail motor number 3, which is right behind me, green and cream. It's just had a fresh coat of paint, all ready for Steamfest. The boys are busy cleaning the 620 class behind us.
Bruce Agland is one of 40 enthusiasts who spend their spare time working on these rail relics. What he enjoys most is sharing the trains with others.
On the rail motors particularly, you can actually have a sit up the front and see the driver's view, which you can't do in any other train. And that's really a big thing. We bring the kids up, let them have a look, blow the horn, and they have a really great time.
He hasn't missed a Steamfest since the event started in 1986.
I've been doing this for over 30 years. It's still great fun. Still as good as day one.
This tin hare was retired from service in 1984. Steamfest allows her to get back on the track to do what she was built for, and that was to take passengers up and down the Hunter.
This weekend, you too can ride the Tin Hare or Red Rattler at Steamfest in Maitland. Georgia Marr, NBN News.
He's played 30 games in the NRL and only celebrated a handful of wins. But this Friday, Danny Levi is hoping to mark his contract extension by outclassing the Bulldogs.
We're coming off a real tight loss against the Premiers. We're not happy with that, just losing. We want to win, so it's definitely a good time for us to do it.
With Kalen Ponga coming in 2018 and potentially Jack Bird, Levi says the future is bright and the Knights should be aiming to win the premiership by 2020.
There's a lot of work to be put in to get there, but I feel, with the guidance of Brownie and Mooney and all that, we'll get there.
Now fully recovered from a back injury that plagued him in 2016, the 21-year-old is focused on becoming one of the game's best hookers. He's also keen to play for the Kiwis in the Anzac Test.
The World Cup at the end of the year, those are definitely goals I've got in the back of my mind at the moment, but at the moment it's just playing good footy for Knights and make sure I can do my best for them and hopefully get a few more wins on the board.
For now, he and his teammates are preparing for the Bulldogs. Josh Starling endured some epic clashes with Canterbury during his time with Manly. He knows Friday will be no different.
No doubt it's going to be another big battle in the middle. We don't have an experienced team and they've got a lot of great especially middle forwards, so we're going to have to be on our game again and try and match it like we did with the Sharks.
If we can replicate that, come this weekend and get a result, hand them the wooden spoon again, then, that'll go a long way to restoring a bit of pride.
I'm playing against Matt Thompson on Saturday night in our NPL game and texted him as soon as I found out he was playing and said I get to kick him twice in 2 days. So Adam Griffiths especially, I can't wait to lay one onto him. But I might even try to kick some of my own players.
Claire Coelho, Sophie Nanadovic, Claire Cummings has played before. So there's a few girls that also play in the Newcastle Premier League. So I think we'll have a pretty good team this year and looking to get the gold medal at the Games.
We estimate there's 180 boats and probably over 2,000 people, and they're staying for anywhere up to 10 days at a time. It produces about a $2 million impact over the whole season of sailing.
It was a show of force, police in a direct hit to the heart of the nomads in the Upper Hunter. Strikeforce Raptor officers and their Hunter-based colleagues stormed the Muswellbrook headquarters of the outlaw motorcycle gang yesterday, knocking down doors, taking down signs and seizing dozens of bottles of alcohol.
We've seized a number of items and paraphernalia which shows that members going to that clubhouse are members of the Nomad motorcycle gang.
The raid was a direct response to growing fears of a bikie war in the region.
In recent weeks there have been a number of incidents in the Newcastle and Hunter Valley areas involving conflict between a number of OMCGs.
Over the past week, officers have searched 10 properties across the Hunter allegedly connected to gang members, including one at Metford and another at Kurri Kurri. And they warn there will be more.
Arising from the incidents in the Newcastle and Hunter Valley area, police will continue to target the outlaw motorcycle gangs.
Tyson Cottrell, NBN News. She's the elected head of Newcastle Council, and Nuatali Nelm says that role comes with a price tag.
There are expenses associated with running a city, with running the Lord Mayor's office that need to be claimed, but that has to be an open and transparent process. So it should be open and transparent through council.
According to her credit card statement, Councillor Nelms has spent just over $30,000 as Lord Mayor since being elected in 2014.
Every single expense that has been claimed has been signed off on by the General Manager or Interim Chief Executive Officer.
Among the expenses, $905 on car washes, $91 for a fruit basket for former CEO Frank Cordingley, a $111 lunch including $39 on cakes and slices, and almost $900 on greeting cards. An independent audit conducted in February identified 171 transactions totalling just under $24,000 made from the Lord Mayor's credit card that required further investigation. That investigation found 5 transactions were made for which there is no council policy provision. They included $131 for food and beverages and $199 for a staff member's farewell.
Really, I don't think ratepayers would be thinking the Lord Mayor should be claiming those expenses and asking ratepayers to foot the bill for it.
My focus has always been on the city and moving the city forward, and we have delivered so much in such a short time at Newcastle City Council.
And there's more change on the horizon. Former Hunter Water executive Jeremy Barth has been appointed interim CEO. He starts next month.
He has a lot of experience in government and also a large infrastructure organisation, which I think will be a really nice fit with council.
Tyson Cottrell, NBN News.
Security was on hand for today's first briefing session, but there was no anger from wary Red Zone residents, resigned to another information session. New national guidelines have been adopted regarding PFOS and PFAS, and the Defence and Health Departments today sought to reassure the community.
There is no evidence, consistent evidence, that exposure to these chemicals causes harm.
A mixed message to those in the affected zone.
Why do they put the red zone up then?
If it's no worry,
if
why
it's
put
no
it there?
worry, why put it there? Why put restriction on? Why the banks don't lend any money to people buy the houses there? That's what I would like to know, if it's no worries.
Federal MP Meryl Swanson believes guidelines regarding water consumption are a step in the right direction.
We knew when those interim levels came out that they just seemed so different from the US EPA levels that we couldn't fathom it. These ones seem closer to what we thought might be.
But at the end of the day, properties are still in limbo.
People don't want contamination in their lives. They don't want it on their properties, and they want some answers, not just platitudes, nothing to see here, folks. We know there's something to see here.
Georgia Ma, NBN News.
The challenge should be out there to every business leader. Step up, take part and raise awareness and raise some money.
At the time of the original $100,000 fine, Nathan Brown was adamant the Knights had followed the appropriate guidelines and the team's high-performance manager wasn't at fault over the handling of Brendan Elliott.
Tony Abe's got 30 years experience and Tony's made a judgment call, and as the head coach we support our staff.
The suspended $50,000 will be imposed if the club breaches the rules again in the next 12 months, but Newcastle officials say they're still disappointed and will consider appealing. In some good news, Sione Matautia has passed concussion protocols this week and has been cleared to play his 50th game for the club. There were more reasons for the players to celebrate this morning as they welcomed a special guest to training. Paddy Smith has missed just 2 home games since 1988. Today she marked her 95th birthday with the first grade squad.
It's important that we do look after the fan base. As I said, they're incredibly loyal, and there's not many more loyal than 95-year-old Paddy in there.
With Danny Levi named in the number 9 jersey for the clash with Canterbury, Jamie Buhrer isn't sure exactly where he'll start.
At the end of the day, I truly just want to get some wins, so I'll do whatever's needed to get that.
Buhrer has had a small taste of representative footy during his career, playing 2 games for City and 1 for the Blues. Helping the Knights to more wins will only increase his chances of adding to that.
I'm really keen for us to take the next step, and as a result of that, if I'm playing good footy, hell yeah, put my hand up for rep footy. But it all starts at this level.
It's been years in the making and now new space is on the home stretch. Final touches are being carried out on the $95 million building as 200 staff and up to 3,000 students prepare to move to the city from July.
We've got all the planning in place, but we're also very excited about the opportunity for the university and the city.
Part of that planning has involved developing ways of getting people to and from the campus. While the university is encouraging the use of public transport, it's also introducing a number of measures, including a park and ride facility from Callaghan.
We're providing free shuttle buses regularly throughout the day to and from the city. We have some parking arrangements in the city and through a commercial arrangement. We're encouraging ride sharing through our ride sharing app.
The uni's relocation plans also coincides with the state government's release of a parking strategy for the CBD, outlining how its transport projects could impact spaces. It identified from more than 11,000 car parks in the city, just 279 or 2.5% could be lost.
We've invested over $500 million in a public transport system. We know we're going to provide a great outcome there, and people are going to make that choice to use public transport as opposed to driving. So we're saying it won't have a material impact on parking.
But Newcastle MP Tim Crackenthorpe is critical of the document.
We need a lot more detail. We need some strategy from the government on how to really improve things and make it happen.
Renee Feder, NBN News.
I couldn't be happier. Who would have thought that we would be averaging over 350,000, clearing better than 85% through the ring, and we sold 17 yearlings for $1 million or more. I should make a special note of Arrowfield this year. They've set a new Australasian record as a vendor at a yearling sale.
This steam traction engine made the original voyage from England in 1926. Today she was steaming through the Hunter Valley, having made the trip over from her current home base of Wellington. Heading into her 91st year, the engine, named Sooty, travels at a top speed of just 10 kilometres an hour. For owner John, she's a steam enthusiast's dream and a money pit.
I'm broke.
Brought over to plough the fields and roll roads similar to these, the engine is still turning heads in her retirement. Back in the day when she worked for Camden Council, Sooty was worth £1,700, but has since become a labour of love.
I only bought it for about $25,000 originally, and then I spent another $25,000 on it, getting it going, and you're forever spending money on it.
The coal and wood burning machine is labour intensive as well.
I enjoy getting dirty and oil all over me, and I don't enjoy cutting wood though.
Sooty and others like her will be on show at Steamfest's Rally Ground over the weekend.
It's been a lot of fun being out and actually at the zoo, and it's been a lot of fun making the QR codes.
They're only playing for pride, but Mark Jones says that is motivation enough.
We must win at all costs. It's a derby. We want to beat the Central Coast.
A battle to avoid the spoon. It's a long way from where the Jets were aiming just a few weeks ago. The frustration showed in another loss last weekend, particularly from Andrew Houle. He's still likely to take part in Sunday's derby, but it's not known whether he'll start. The 23-year-old is without a contract for next season, with an overseas deal yet to materialise.
The ball's a little bit with us now, because we'll see what sort of recruits and signings we get, and if we get all the players that perhaps we're targeting, then there might not be a spot left.
Melbourne Victory winger Mitch Austin is believed to be one of those players, although he's still on contract there for next season, while talks are also ongoing with one of Sunday's opponents, Mariners frontman Roy O'Donovan.
It'd be lovely to have him here, and he'd obviously be a crucial signing if we could get him across the line.
Jones's signing attention is also on his own side, with a long list of players coming off deals.
The team that started last week, 7 of those boys will be here next year, so it's not a massive clean out in terms of the starting 11. It's about bringing in some quality to bolster the strength of the team, and then it's their job to change my perception if the perception's not good, and if it is good, it's their job to maintain that.
Today's Hawthorn Club lunch, the calm before the storm. The new season is here, and understandably, many believe the Hawks are again the team to beat.
Yeah, that's just something, a bit of sidetrack for everyone else, I believe. We're not reading anything into it. There's 4 or 5 clubs there, if not 6, that could win this competition. We're definitely not getting ahead of ourselves, and we've got to do all the hard work to be there at the end, that's for sure.
Becoming the first team to win 3 straight titles would be an easy motivator, but coach Scott Coleman says it's the chance to celebrate the club's 50th year in style that's more of a driving force, although even that isn't on the front of their minds.
We had our pre-season camp and had a bit of a goal-setting session, and one of the main things they wanted to speak about was being humble, so as a coach that was awesome.
There's plenty of sides ready to try and bring the Hawks down. The Greens, Wanderers and Beaches will all again prove tough, while Singleton is also much more confident of its chances this season.
Most of the blokes, when I started with a club aged between 20 and 22, they're now developing into 24 and 25-year-olds, and they're getting better and better footballers all the time. And we've held them. That's been the good thing.
And Aaron Royal will make top 10 as well, so
fine performance by Royal. He was right there in the
This noisy machine could soon be a valuable household item, one that will lower power bills, charge cars and pump oxygen through homes. Researchers are calling it energy on demand, the new technology allowing households to produce, distribute and manage their own power.
It is a complement to baseload power generation. Essentially, you're producing more or less your own power, and at some point you can actually even put that power into the grid.
According to its creator, this renewable energy system has the ability to be scaled up for large buildings like hospitals. Something this size could power a block of 40 apartments. This artist impression shows it scaled down to the size of a fridge, which could power one family home.
The version that was unveiled today is almost ready for commercialisation. We're hoping towards the end of the year the commercial packages will be available.
Researchers then predicting it would be as little as 18 months until consumers can get their hands on one.
What we need is a broad-based incentive, because at the moment we've got an energy crisis in this country and we need an active government who will put the incentives in place to develop these technologies and roll them out.
The launch also drew international investors who believe this may be the way of the future. Georgia Ma, NBN News. Excited children and their equally enthused parents drawing cartoons. Not any old cartoons, but ones drawn by acclaimed actor Richard Roxburgh. The Australian actor cum children's book author had kids and parents in stitches this morning as he spoke at Newcastle Writers' Festival. The father of two, and with one on the way, says it's important kids reach for bedtime stories instead of screens.
When you're reading, you're inventing the story yourself. You're creating the story in your own head. And so there's a creative act that is incredibly important to the development of kids.
He knows all too well that children's books aren't just for the kids.
The most successful children's books always speak a little bit slyly to the parents as well. I like to think I kept my eye on that while I was writing Artie and the Grime Wave as well.
Roxburgh wrote the book for his own children, so he got to test it out on them first.
If I could see that they were kind of fidgeting or they were, getting lost in other things, I would immediately know that I needed to address it.
Now, his toughest of critics love the book.
Oh, I love them. They're really good. Yeah.
He has to say that or he'd be in all kinds of trouble.
The festival includes a packed lineup of children's authors. Organisers say they want to foster reading from a young age.
Everyone who's passionate about reading knows that love starts in childhood, and it just triggers creativity in children.
The festival continues tomorrow in Newcastle. Georgia Ma, NBN News.
And we've managed to nip that one in the bud. We've managed to stop that because people have a right to choose where they can die.
Another hard-fought loss, and another loss marred by the referees.
There's certainly some areas of the game where we're not getting favourable calls, and that happens when you're an underdog every week. I don't think the players are getting any calls at the moment. I think we got any last week, and we certainly got none today.
The score looked to be levelled with just minutes remaining. Sent upstairs ruled a try on the field. Countless slow-motion replays saw the decision overturned.
If it was a try, they'd probably be still looking at it to try and make it not a try. They looked at it about 85,000 times. If I was a journalist and you're the coach, how did you think he went today?
Well, I wrote that you didn't get the right green.
Beautiful. There we go, yeah. I'd love to comment, but I don't have money available.
Des Hasler certainly had no issues with the ruling.
Well, he dropped it, didn't he? So, but he got over the try line. With the ball in both hands, so I imagine he'll be a little bit somewhat disappointed that he didn't get it down.
He was full of praise for the Knights, who again came from behind to push for a win, but have now posted 4 straight losses.
At the end of the day, we've got to make the plays, don't we? At the end of the day, we make the plays, and some of the 50-50s we're not getting our own fault, some of the 50-50s we're not getting as other people are involved in.
First game of the year and one of the biggest of the season for both sides, the local derby, and it was the Wanderers who drew first blood through Pat Vaughan. They should have had another down that right edge not too long after, before a few phases later a penalty handing them an 8-0 lead. The Greens had been creating chances of their own and were rewarded when Sam Fogarty forced his way over. Fogarty looked like having another when this hit forced the ball loose, but it was ruled to be high. The Wanderers once again stretching their lead, now 11-7. Merriweather returned serve with one of their own, the score 11-10 at halftime. The two Blues came out firing in the second half and soon found some space out wide. Blistering pace from Tim Marsh gave him room before the ball inside, and an impressive take from Luke Simmons saw them crash over and into a 16-10 lead. And that's the way it stayed for 20 minutes, errors hurting both sides. Thankfully for the Greens, a penalty seconds later handed them back the ball, but while fullback Fraser Price went close, another handling error saw them bomb what seemed like a certain try. Another 3 points for the Wanderers made it 19-10. And that's the way it stayed, the Wanderers posting a solid win.
Lazy afternoons by the lake are about to become even more picturesque. A foreshore facelift at Warners Bay is set to begin next week and will see the community space transformed with 2 new plaza areas, public furniture, lighting and a path realignment.
In a few weeks you're going to see our construction crews move in to do site establishment, and from there they'll start moving in through different areas. There will be elements of the park that will be shut off temporarily, but overall the park is going to remain open.
The works are a part of the Warners Bay Foreshore Master Plan and construction should be finished late this year.
It's a very important area for the community and we saw it as a great opportunity to actually increase the use. With the work that was undertaken previously, this is a continuation of that work.
Meantime, plans for a much-loved and missed public pool on Brooks Parade, Belmont may be about to come to the surface. The future of the neglected Belmont Baths could be decided this week, with Lake Macquarie Council to consider re-establishing the swimming enclosure with a net jetty and accessible ramp. The discussion reignited this year following pressure from residents who were fed up with inaction on the once popular watering hole, which was ravaged by the April superstorm in 2015. Council will meet tomorrow night. Georgina Smythe, NBN News.
Ready and waiting, eager onlookers packing any vantage point they could. Out to catch a glimpse of a race as spectacular as it is exciting. 2 steam trains up against a tiger moth. Further up the train line in Maitland, thousands of people swarmed the railway precinct, hoping to catch a glimpse of the rail relics.
The heritage rail is harder and harder to keep on the lines, so it's getting more difficult. But we do it for the grandkids and the younger generations to see how we did it back in our days.
But in this day and age, the event is thriving. Crowd numbers estimated between 30 and 40,000 over the weekend-long event, proving to be a welcome boost for the city of Maitland.
I thought that it would maybe last for 5 years, but 31 years, it gives us so much pride in our city.
And as for who won in the battle of the steam train and the tiger moth?
Unfortunately, the tiger moth won this year, the great race. The train I was on, 36.42, we came second.
But as everyone here knows, it's more about the journey.
Nostalgia.
Nostalgia, yeah.
Nostalgia. And how uncomfortable they are compared to the ones we've got now.
Georgia Ma, NBN News.
Every one of them that died or fought are heroes, men and women, and children.
The Roosters briefly led the competition this week. Today they were brought back to earth by the Jaffers. Jets legend Joel Griffiths opened the scoring after 20 minutes. But a hip injury was already giving him trouble. Pat Brown was causing headaches for the Lake Macquarie defence. Pretty soon he made it 2-0 to Lambton with his 6th goal this season. Griffiths was rolled in a tough tackle and taken off soon after. His replacement, Luke Remington, would make a big impact. He created a chance with one of his early touches. The Jaffers continued to pile on the pressure as Ben Hay made it 3-0 to the visitors. The Roosters had a decent chance before the break, but the shot trickled wide. Thomas Walker had another opportunity early in the second half, but couldn't beat Daniel March. Instead, it was Remington who left his stamp on the game with a cracker at the other end. Sam Walker had 2 late looks at the Lambton goal, but 4-0 was how it would stay. Last night, Hamilton was always in control against the Jets youth, Scott Smith with a first-half brace. The home side was on target after the break through Daniel Bird as Hamilton grabbed its 2nd win this season.
Nathan Colby and Logan Dean have been remanded in custody, with neither applying for bail in Newcastle Local Court today. Both men were charged in relation to an investigation into a spate of armed robberies across the region. 21-year-old Colby was arrested on Saturday afternoon. Police say they found him under a bed in a Raymond Terrace house. He's been charged with robbery while armed with a dangerous weapon and drug possession. Later that night, officers attached to Strikeforce Shirley swooped on a motel at Heatherbrae, arresting 32-year-old Dean and charging him with the same robbery offence. Police allege both were involved in a raid on the Williamtown McDonald's outlet back in January. Both Colby and Dean will return to court next month.
"40 hectares of land owned by Hydro Aluminium near Kurri Kurri, with the Hunter Expressway running through the middle. This is where the new Lower Hunter Hospital should be built, according to Cessnock councillor Rod Doherty. He says it's easily accessible for the entire region.
The Hunter Expressway was really a no-brainer. Once it was built, we've now got a major spine road where we can do lots of development on that spine road, and the hospital is an absolutely neat fit.
Councillor Doherty believes the Metford site was selected to try to shore up votes in the tightly contested seat of Maitland. He's now urging the Health Minister to reconsider.
Once it's built, it'll be an absolute nightmare as far as traffic congestion is concerned.
But planning and remediation work is well underway for the Metford site, which was announced by the state government in 2013.
They've spent in the vicinity of $20 million making sure that this is the right site.
Labor MP Jenny Aitchison says talk of a move is a delaying tactic, taking the project back to the drawing board.
They've done the acquisition, they've done remediation. There is no more reason to delay, and it disappoints me that we've got Liberals out at Cessnock who are putting motions up like this, which will just provide an opportunity for the government to delay.
She wants building work to start on the hospital, and the Berejiklian government seems committed, saying Metford was chosen after a rigorous selection process of more than 35 sites. Jane Goldsmith, NBN News.
We have over 600 female staff in the organisation, and it is really important for them to know that as an organisation we are committed to stopping violence against women.
With a little bit of imagination and a whole lot of Lego, this is what's possible.
I feel like a little kid.
When you see you can do this with Lego, now at my age, maybe I'll be able to do something myself.
Behold, a Lego wonderland, the result of hundreds of hours of careful construction and a staggering 5 million bricks.
So we include lots of little jokes and bits and pieces. So just like the real Colosseum, we've got a lady having her handbag stolen. We've got the gelati van out the front there. And one for those who know their Rome pretty well, we've got the Pope Mobile down the bottom there.
From international landmarks to homegrown icons and everyday objects, Ryan McNaught is the man behind these amazing creations, one of only 14 LEGO certified professionals in the world.
I like to think that my worst day is somebody's best day. I have a bad day, I'm still playing with Lego bricks.
And he's sharing his passion in the biggest LEGO exhibition in the Southern Hemisphere. To give you an idea of just how large some of these creations are, this rocket at over 7 metres is in fact the tallest LEGO structure in the Southern Hemisphere. And for any kids out there wanting to shoot for the stars and make these for a living, well, the advice is to get building. Tell me guys, what are we building?
This is our little boat a little scary boat that we made.
And if you think all this is just child's play,
just fantastic. Gets them out of the house, away from the screens and games, and it's just fantastic.
The main thing is we can inspire them to do something. So hopefully they go home, get their Lego bricks out and build something epic like what we've made too.
the Brickman exhibition is in Newcastle until the end of the month. Tyson Cottrell, NBN News.